Alright, welcome back to another Destiny video. In this video, we'll be going over 10 Guardian stereotypes that happen to be very common in Destiny. So let's get right into it. The role grinder is one of those types of people who doesn't ever stop playing Crucible just for like a perfect roll on a weapon. I mean, he's one of those people who'll go like, okay, so I got this roll on my Matador. It's got full auto and knee pads for better sliding and range, but it doesn't have reinforced barrel, so I'm probably gonna go like re-roll it 100 times for a roll that has reinforced barrel on it. Also, he was probably really salty when re-rolling got cancelled in the Taken King. Also, when they're with the fire team, they really like to talk about their rolls to people. Like, they'll often say, hey man, let me know what you think of this roll. And then they'll make like the Guardian actually go into their character and look at the actual roll for like a few seconds before they say, oh, it's obviously good. But these guys aren't too bad compared to some of the other stereotypes I'm about to list next. Since the Destiny Trials of Osiris came out in the House of Wolves, there have always been sweaty players looking to get to Lighthouse with other sweaties or trying to carry people. And while these sweaties may be awesome on your team, they can also get pretty angry at you for not clutching up like doing when it counted. They can say some stuff like, yo, how do you not get that kill? You're so bad, dude. And I wish I was exaggerating, but I'm not. And this can be what causes most people to steer away from trials. And while the tryhard may not feel like they're really insulting the person, the player that's not as good kind of feels like he doesn't have any skill at all. So that's probably what drives most people away from the Trials of Osiris. Raids are probably the hardest PvE activity to complete in Destiny, and there's always going to be that one raid overachiever who does all 3 raids on like the first day of the weekly reset. And he's going to be 400 light too, and he's going to still be doing all 3 raids. Like, what? Nothing much to say about this one, just wow. PvE dedication is pretty impressive. The Squeaker is pretty much just like your regular Destiny player, except that his voice is way higher.
Like this?
Well, that's not what a Squeaker sounds like. But yeah, his voice is just higher, and I kind of feel bad for the Squeakers because the sweaty tryhards and the raid overachievers, they don't tend to be too fond of them because Squeakers are commonly associated with noobs. And sometimes they are, yeah. But I feel like they should be given a second chance, you know, just to play before getting immediately kicked. And that's just my opinion. But anyway, let's move on to the next category. Okay, now these type of people really get on my nerves, cause if you want to help, just admit you need like a good person to help you through. Don't like demand that you want people with high stats and then you got like people with these kind of stats. And I'm not necessarily ranting about them, but I have gotten stuck with these people quite a few times, and I just advise you to check people's stats before you actually jump into fire teams. Because if you want to go Lighthouse, you don't want to get stuck with a person like this. The Music Blaster likes to play his music, but he doesn't bother to turn his mic off. While his music may sound like this, this is what it really sounds like to us. You'll only meet this type of player in trials, but when he dies, it's always not because he messed up. For example, look at this. He shot me through the wall! Or like, lag, so laggy. But yeah, it's so amusing when they like pretend that it's not their fault, but you look at their KDs and they're like 0.66. But if they're good, it's definitely worth playing with them. They may complain about every death they have, but if they're good, the trade-off is definitely worth it. This is basically a mixture of the person that demands stats higher than his and the sweaty tryhard. They have very good KDs like 2.0s, but the only reason they do that is because they stat farm and they demand like other 1.9s, and if you're like a 1.88, they won't accept you because you don't meet the requirements. These guys are quite rare, but if you eventually get into like the sweaty side of trials and you look for long enough on looking for group posts, you should be able to find a few of them. Examples of this include need a carry partner, be a 1.5 KD or above. But if you've got an insanely sweaty team, you can run with these guys and you'll almost be guaranteed a flawless. But if you're below 1.5 KD, good luck even getting to talk to them. This is probably the worst one out of all of them. He's kind of like an elitist noob who will propose saying like, I demand 1.5 or higher KDs, obviously when he's not that KD. But instead of sticking with the good people, if he's even able to get them, he'll just like run off on his own, saying like, guys, try not to die, when he's the one dying the most. And like when he dies, it's somehow never his fault, like the other category I stated. And he'll always say like lag. And when the other players die, he'll like blame the match all on them. Because in my opinion, he's way too prideful to accept like defeat or the fact that he isn't good. And you should almost never play with these guys. Like you should never actually. But yeah, this is probably the worst category out of all of them, and we will move on to number 10. And finally for number 10 we have the Rager. The Rager is the guy who will hate mail you if you win against him in the Trials of Osiris, or will scream about how he shouldn't have died if he died on your side. And these Ragers are not very fun to play with. They will especially rage if they get to the Lighthouse match and fail, although I think everyone does that. Ragers obviously are not just specific to Destiny, there are Ragers in every single game that is played, and I will show you what a Rager looks like for your viewing pleasure. No! So yeah, that is the Rager, and that concludes our 10 types of Destiny players and stereotypes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.